So we had a power outage last night, or something. I don't actually really know what happened. Because everything was working by the time I figured out what was going on. I do know that everything here turned off. All this stuff shut down. But the interesting thing is that none of the clocks reset. It is 1:44, I think. Is it 1:44 or is it a little bit later? Yeah, 1:45. So none of those reset, and those usually will do that, especially if the outage is what it is. I don't actually remember how long it was. I suppose I could go back and check, but probably no more than an hour. It wasn't that long. But I know that all this stuff shut down, and I know that the elevator in the building is acting dead. I don't know why or what's going on with that, just that it's doing what it's doing. Everything came back on its own, except for one thing. And that's this, which is what we are going to focus on in this video. So let me go ahead and pull it out here. So here it is. This is another one of those Q87M-E things that everyone loves so much. I might see if I can reuse that heatsink. Might give that a try, I don't know. But I don't think the power supply is bad. I suppose we can find out. What I'm curious about is how much power this machine actually uses. So we'll kick that on. You'll see I have a green light now, but I don't really have anything else. And that will be evidenced here in a bit if I can find the power switch. No, it did come on. Drive spinning up definitely is a lot. It'll tell me here in a second that I need to recover settings. The battery is toast on this. In fact, I don't know. How toast is the battery? Well, I kept that. So it's not that toast, but it is toast. See if I can get to a... No, it just turned off. It's got 6 hard drives in it. So that spin up makes sense. Let's see if it's going to make me go into setup again. No, it just rebooted. Or maybe it didn't. Let's run a memory test. Oops. No, maybe we won't be running a memory test, so that's about as good as we're gonna get for figuring out how much power this uses. Let me pull that board out. Okay, the old board is out. Now, of course, because I'm working on this, there has to be a complication, and that complication is that there are not enough standoffs in this case for the new board. So I've had to rearrange the ones that are in here to hopefully put them in places where structural integrity is more important. And I suppose since I want to reuse this heatsink, but I can't find my thermal compound either, I guess that's, well, it's a perfect excuse to revisit this and put the standoffs in place that I'm going to need. So that'll have to come later. Hopefully I have enough standoffs in here that this is going to actually stay still, but somehow or another I kind of doubt it. Here we are. Now before I do anything, including putting the extra RAM in here, I will get that prepared, but I'm going to put all the SATA connectors in, I'm going to put the power into the board, and I'm going to test it, and I'm going to see if it works. Because that is important. If this board doesn't work, I don't want to go to all the trouble of putting all the parts in and then have to change it out for something else again. It's just a bunch of unnecessary work. Okay, this should have been a 10-minute swap. I just realized that I forgot to plug in the fan. Not that I think the fan works anyway, but, you know, completeness and all that. And I bet it's on the wrong pins on that connector, but you know what? After fighting with this thing as much as I have, I don't care. Whoever at Asus was in charge of engineering this board ought to be fired. They should be required to go back to school and start their engineering degree from scratch and relearn how engineering actually works in the real world, because this is terrible. I don't know what was so hard about the old way of doing it, where all the SATA connectors were right there. But because they've done it this way, they've made it really difficult, not just for the front panel connections, but for literally basically everything. But I think we're okay. Plug this thing in. I'm going to do it on video. Yep, that's in. PS2 keyboard. I don't need a stupid mouse because this has a proper BIOS on it. Why can't I plug in my PS2 keyboard? There we go. Give me the power. And watch as this thing blows sky high when I hit the switch. Well, it didn't. It's impressive. Power usage already looks a little bit better. And yeah, there it's going down. That's good. Good for it. Oh, this needs to be defaulted. Good thing I know what the password is. Okay, so I went ahead and cleared the password. Now, before I go any further, I do want to go ahead and update the BIOS to the latest release. I'm going to let it do that. And then, since I know that it works, at least for the time being, I'm going to upgrade the RAM as well. Okay. It turned off. It's normal. Not quite as high of a power spike as with the other board. Is it going to post? There we go. That was a little concerning there for a second. But this should ask me to go into setup and recover the settings. So I'll do that. Oh, it still thinks there's a password. Okay. RAM upgrade is in place. Computer does power on. That's good. But I realized I am going to have to enable the PXE option ROM. I hope it's working. Okay, there we go. That's seeing all the RAM. Yep, 32 gigs. The reason why I'm enabling the PXE option ROM is so that way I can get the MAC address, update that in the system, or not. I don't know what we're doing here. Okay, here we go. I think this is the onboard one. I'll know in a second if it decides it wants to actually function. Nope, it just rebooted. That's nice of it. This monitor does not work with this computer at all. Not even close. Like, we are not even close here. Yes, so I have the address, so now I can update the DHCP reservation as the camcorder tells me that the battery is almost dead. Nice of it. Alright, we have the current IP address now. So, I can turn this thing off, put the cover back on it, put it back in the rack, and let it boot. Okay, on with it. Why is it half off the screen? I don't understand. It's really annoying when it does that. Oh, we're gonna do this, are we? Sounds kind of interesting, like it might be about ready to explode. Hope it doesn't do that. Power supply go foof. Yeah, I know I've seen this before. I don't really understand why these boards do that. It's probably got something to do with the compatibility support module, which I would just turn off if it weren't for the fact that I don't remember if this is installed in legacy mode or if this is installed in UEFI mode. I suppose I could figure it out and update it, but I'm going to save that for when I change the heatsink, because I will change the heatsink on this. It's going to get a nice deep cool Theta 20, which would be a much better cooler than the stupid plastic Intel thing, but it should be okay, apart from the fact that the camcorder doesn't focus. It seems to be a trait that's common across all these Sony camcorders. They all do this. I don't understand why. And then it goes and dies. That's nice of it, because the video was basically over. So all I gotta do is put that back there, because it looks like it booted up just fine and everything is probably running just fine. So look at that, there's another Sony camera and the focus isn't even working on this one. Like, what the heck? I don't understand. But whatever. It is what it is. Oh, that's voltage. Well, I was wondering why that was so high. Wattage. Look at that. Less than 700 watts for all this junk, and yet people still feel the need to clamor at me that it must use so much power. I have measuring tools that tell me that it doesn't. What a novel concept. I guess on that note, something broke. Oh, that's creative. That's nice of it. That's nice of it. What a pile of crap. Okay, so after a disaster, completely unrelated to this, I think we're done here. I'm not gonna make you sit through any more of this. I think it's working, so that's good enough for me. Thanks for watching. If you got any comments, feel free to leave them below. Bye!